Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you had an amazing day so far. So today we're gonna be building my favorite 5-inch FPV drone. It is a low budget build. That means the parts are priced pretty low, so especially good for beginners who don't wanna waste like 800 euros for their drone. And I'm gonna be guiding you step by step through the process of building this drone so you guys don't get lost. And at the end of this video, we're also gonna go outside and we're gonna do some test flights. So with that being said, I hope you have fun with this tutorial, and we instantly switch over to top down so you can see the whole desk, and we start from scratch. Alright, so in this package are all the parts we're gonna use today. I usually order at Drone FPV Racer. It's a company based in France, and if you're from Europe, you can purchase there as well. They ship within 72 hours, so it's pretty nice. And I'm gonna be starting with putting everything outside. Then we can get rid of the cartoon here, and then I'm gonna guide you through everything and why I choose these parts. So let's put that away, and let's clean up a little bit so we can go through everything in detail like that. All right, should work. Okay, so we're gonna start with the frame because this is going to be the base. And I decided to go with the SpeedyB Mario 5 frame. Not sure if you can see that right over here, but once the focus got it, you probably see it. All right, so Mario 5, and I'm gonna be using the DeadCat version. So there's also the X version, but I like to use the DeadCat version because whenever you wanna film something, like whenever you wanna shoot with the GoPro, you just don't have your props in view, so it's an amazing frame, and it doesn't break the bank. It's only 40 euros, I guess. I'm gonna be telling you the prices in euros because I'm from Europe, so you need to do the math if you wanna translate it into dollars. All right, so the next thing is the brain of the drone, which is also from SpeedyB, and all these components are not sponsored, so just keep that in mind. I just like to use the SpeedyB parts because like the price and the quality is so insanely good on these parts, and in my opinion they are like so high quality in comparison what they cost. So if we have a look inside there, this is stack. That means it comes with the ESC and the flight controller. We're gonna put them together with a wire later on the drone. This is not the high-end version, it's more like a budget version. So if you have a look right on this piece, you see that there's F405, 40 amps. So there are different flight controllers out there and ESCs. I like to use that one when it comes to a budget build, but there's also the F7 version, which has the F7 chip on it, which is slightly better, but it does an amazing job as well. So it's just there are these F7 chips that are faster, so like you feel it slightly when you fly, but usually I would say it's almost the same experience with this one. We're gonna have a look on that one later on once we get into the building. So with the let's continue with the motors first. I'm gonna be running the Sword ones from Flyfish RC. Those are pretty amazing motors, especially when it comes to quality and price point. They're at like 15 euros, so don't really break the bank. I'm gonna be giving you all the prices anyway there or just later in the video description, and they look amazing. Like if you have a look on that, it looks great. So these are my favorite ones, and as mentioned earlier, they don't break the bank, so very beginner friendly. I love to use them. Let's put them away. We've got 4 motors, usually just order 4 of them, and let's continue with the video transmission. I'm gonna be using an O3A unit. The O4 hasn't been released yet. Once it has released, I will definitely do a video here on the channel about it. But for now, I just still use that transmission system as it works great with my FPV goggles too. So we're gonna have a look inside the box later when we're gonna start the build. For the remote, for the video, for the signal transmission, I'm using Crossfire. So this is just a TBS Crossfire RX receiver. So basically that's inside, but more later. If you're using a different system, you also need a different receiver, but there are a lot of people running Crossfire. So yeah, just if you're a beginner, you probably also want to go for Crossfire as well. Then we also have the LiPo batteries, and those are very good ones. So I guess these are the best ones out there. So these are from Tattoo. These are the race line ones with 1480 milliamps. So pretty amazing batteries. And I have to say that I guess no other company is able to compete up with Tattoo. They're just the best ones when it comes to LiPos. So if you're searching for good LiPos, this is definitely also a good choice. I'm running those for all of my drones, and these are new ones. They just released it, so pretty much looking forward for testing those later on. With the props, I'm just running some HQ props, 5-inch props, the polycarbon ones. These are in gray, so they look pretty amazing, and I will put links down below so you can check it out. But with that being said, this is just the last thing I also ordered, which are just some mounts for the motor wires later, so we don't gonna cut them if we, for example, smash a prop. So really handy. And with that being said, we're gonna take all the parts away for now. Just gonna take them down so we have enough space here. Let's get rid of all the parts for now. All right. So, okay. So first things first, let's have a look into the frame. And basically all we need is just to open it up for the first time. So there are all the parts inside. It is so amazing to see what they ship inside the box. Like, imagine you make a frame for 40 euros and you ship all that stuff with the frame. Like, that's crazy. And like, one of the parts that I really enjoy on SpeedyB is that they put it in like these kind of clean vacuum bags, so it just feels high quality. I mean, look at this, guys, this is crazy. All right, so okay, first things first, let's open up this thing. I just need to bring something to open up because I forgot to bring one. Wait a second. Okay, so I made it back. Let's open up the frame first so we can have a look inside the parts. These are the arms. So nice carbon fiber. I don't know how thick they are, but actually they look amazing, and I've never broke any of those, so they're pretty strong and will give us an amazing flight feeling later on. Let's go with the next one. You also have these things to open up. I just saw them, so it's basically pretty handy. We don't need this anymore. All right, these are the top and bottom plates and also the middle plates, so more later. Also pretty nice that they already, look at these guys, they already put the inserts right into the drone. I've already tested like other frames that were super expensive and they didn't even got to the point of making this, so pretty amazing. SpeedyB, if you see that, I love your parts. So right in here we have a lot of other things like some spacers and also some 3D printed parts for the arms so you don't scratch them, screws, and also some placers that you can use for mounting your O3A unit. or your camera system. So we're gonna put them to the side for now. Then next thing, we also have some other parts, as well as some 3D printed parts. And let's get rid of all the plastic stuff. So right in there we have something for the XT60 connector and also for the antenna, so pretty handy. Also some GoPro mount, so like our action camera mount, everything is included in the frame. Like, that's so amazing to see. So also for the antenna down there. So we've got everything inside, but for now let's get this to the side and we're gonna start assembling the frame. So basically, first things first, what we need is the bottom plate. So this is the bottom plate, and we're gonna start assembling the drone from down. So we're gonna start in on the bottom plate, and we only need a few parts that we're gonna use to place inside. So we have these two small spacers, and we're gonna put them inside there. So I will get closer to you guys so you know exactly what we're gonna do here. We basically just put them inside here. Pretty easy. They probably will get out again. And then we also need to figure out how to mount the arms on the drone, because this is always a little tricky. There are longer arms and shorter arms, and the longer arms will be on the back side of the drone, so they will be placed right here. Once I figure out how to get them together, I will definitely let you know. So I guess it will be, let me know. It will be like that. I always have to remember myself again how it works, but it should work like that. Okay, and then we have the short arms on the front side of the drone. Again, let's go. So how was it again? Nope. Yeah, like that. Okay. So that might be the reason why a lot of tutorials out there just skipping the part of of placing the arms into the frame and that stuff, because it's like you always have to remind yourself again. So on this part, what we can see is that we have like some inserts as well, some CNC like cutoffs where you can just put off this one on the frame. So basically I'm not able to put it up to the camera, so otherwise it falls down again, but we will just put this onto the frame like that. But before we're gonna do it, we definitely need to find the right screws for that. I just have to have a look on the manual because I'm not sure which screws are inside there. Let me just check and I will come back in a second. Okay guys, so I just had to quickly review the manual again to not using the wrong screws at the wrong part. But basically what we're gonna use is the like 20mm screws right over here, 4 of those, and then also 2 of the other ones. I guess these are like maybe 15mm, not sure. So there's smaller ones, and then we put like just 2 of the long screws of the 20mm screws into the frame from the bottom, just stick it through, and then we also do the same with a 20mm screw on this side. So all right. And the same thing on the back side. So let's put them together again. Just need to stick through the screws. Oh damn. It's always so hard, like mounting these frames, but you guys will definitely get it as well. So we can also now take on the other parts, and now it already looks like a frame, like a drone. The next thing we want to do is, again, insert these spacers. I know I've already told you to insert them, but we had to stick them out again. So we're gonna place them right in there, in the middle. Okay, so we're gonna put it like that, right into the drone. Should actually work quite easy. So something like that. And now we already have the middle part mounted to the drone, which already works quite well. And we're gonna use a screwdriver and insert one of the 15mm screws into that hole as well. Something like that. Now we have those screws, those two long screws, and that short screw. And we're also gonna do it on this back side. All right, with that being done, we're now gonna focus on the standoffs that we have to mount right over there. So 4 standoffs. We've got a few different ones delivered right here, but we're gonna use those first. Damn, it's always so hard to open up these packages. So, okay, 4 ones, you just need to screw them on the drone like that. It's pretty basic, pretty easy. So for the next step, we're gonna open up the long screws. These are 4 long screws, and that is basically right in the middle where the flight controller and the EC are going to be placed later on. So we're gonna insert them from the downside, from right over here, and just screw them into the frame. And you will be doing this with all 4. Yeah, like that. All right, once you're done with screwing these on all 4 sides, then it should look like that. So you can already tell that that will be used for the flight controller. Just fixing that one screw I inserted earlier. All right, perfect. Just try to be really precisely here, because you don't want to have your frame getting apart later on, or just you don't want to lose parts on the drone. Now let's just continue with the front side, because all we need for the front side are actually just those 2 parts, that part. Let's give a quick look on here. This will be the action camera mount, and we also need that one, which is just for, yeah, you will see it later on, but it's gonna be placed on front, so we're not gonna scratch the frame if we crash. Okay, let's have a look inside here. First things first. All right, so left, right, as you can see here, they're already doing it for you. So there's an right, and right over there is an L for left. See it? Okay, so that's already quite nice that they do it for us. And we will be placing them like this for now. And also we're gonna use those, how do you call this color in English? I'm not sure. But yeah, just use those parts for the sides as well. Okay, and also for the front part we need some standoffs, like these parts, where we're gonna pull one through that 3D printer part. Something like that, pretty easy. So, right, that works perfectly, because this part is actually going to be placed on the front side later. So will be like this, placed right over there. And we now can already start to screw on these side plates for the camera mount later. So basically just open up another screw package. They're not like any kind of labels on it, so I just can't tell you what kind of screws these are. It's super hard to read, but yeah, some small screws. Just use the small screws, guys. And if you're building up this frame, you probably also want to go for the manual, because it might make more sense then. But yeah, you see these like winches in there, and that's exactly where we're gonna focus on. So we're gonna pull up the frame and just screw on these parts from right over here. Exactly like that. And we're also gonna do it on the other side. So all right. So next thing is to place this yellow part on the top side, on the front side. It's also pretty basic, and we're gonna use some small screw. Yeah, actually we're gonna use these small screws again to mount them on the frame. Just like that. Okay, now we actually need some other screws, just the longer screws. Those were too short. So let's open up this pack as well. Right. We're gonna use that one. Right, and on the other side, same screw. Perfect. Now, next thing will be those standoffs. Wait, this is the left side. We're gonna place it right here, and we're gonna do it in this way, I guess. Yeah, it should be that way. So again, we need a small screw and just place it right over there. Insert a screw. I know it's hard to see, but it's actually just super small space here. But I guess you see it, guys. Just right in here. Then looks like that on this side, and we have to focus on the other side exactly the same way. So, okay, now it already looks quite good. So, like that, just to see all the steps. Screw right here on that side, and left, right. So, perfect. That's it already with this side. And I'm now gonna be switching over to that part already. We're not gonna mount it because we still need to leave it open for later, but that part is just like sliding into the frame pretty easily. So I guess this small hole right there is used to, if you wanna like pull an USB-C port in through that, should work. I'm not gonna do it, but we're gonna screw it on the frame later on, because we still need to leave it open, but it will be placed like that. So pretty easy. So the next thing is already that part on the back side, but before we're gonna place that one, we still have to insert 2 screws to the back side right over here, so we're able to finish the frame later on. So we can use those 2 spacers. They should be quite similar to the others. Let's check. Yeah, like you see, they're almost the same size, literally the same size. And we just need the small screws, just put them through the frame like that. Okay, they don't stick through, so we have to screw them in. And also the second one. So like that. Damn it. It's so hard to do this in the air. Perfect. And next one. All right. So now standoffs on it. See, like this, and the second one just placed on the other side. So perfectly. Now we can insert this yellow part. Should be this direction. So we can open it up a little bit. And just go all the way inside like that. Next, what we need is this part. It's also included, and we're gonna place it right over there. So I don't know why they put it, just maybe to secure this thing. And then we also need some smaller screwdriver to fix it with these small screws. I'm not sure if you see it, but these are super tiny. So we can just screw them in right here. Pretty basic. And also on the other side. So how it works like that. Come on, just don't want to go in. So once you're finished with inserting these screws on here, let's have a look again. Those 2 screws. You are already at that part where you don't need to do anything extra on the frame for now, because we're now gonna mount the parts on the drone and we're gonna finish the frame later. Wouldn't make sense to close it now because we still need to have it open. So I'm just gonna be cleaning up for a second, and then we're gonna put on the first part. Alright, so I just cleaned up a little bit. Now it's even better, and I left these parts on the desk because we're gonna use them later once we solder the flight controller, like all the electricity onto the drone. But now it's already part to mount the motors onto the frame. So we're gonna start with one. Just open it up. I love these motors. Like for 15 euros, this is just amazing quality. I definitely like, this is one thing that I once want to do, is having some custom motors with my logo on it. But if I do one, I will definitely do it super cheap so everyone is able to get it. And now let's also open up these things. So we've got the screws inside here. We still have to see if we can use those screws when we put on the extensions, like just for taking care of the arms. Like they will be placed in that case just right over there. So we might be able to use the delivered screws for the two holes over here, and we need like bigger ones for the other parts. So let's see, but for now that should work. Okay, so we're gonna start with the first motor. Just get to any side, doesn't matter where you start. I'm gonna be starting on this side, and we're gonna secure it with 2 screws, just pretty basic. I hope you can see that, otherwise I will zoom a little bit. Just take it easy, and then we already do the second one on that side. So also pretty basic. And now we have to check if the screws are even long enough for this construction, but I guess it should work. So let's put screws inside there as well. Does it work or does it not work? Okay, let's have a look. Ah, no, they're too short. Sorry guys, they're too short. So you can use those screws if you wanna just build up the frame without like these placers, and if you want to use them you have to get some other screws. I guess you can use some of the frame. Let me have a look. Okay, so I just had a look into the frame accessories, and the only problem is that they don't deliver screws for these standoffs. So yeah, there's like no screw that fits for the standoffs. What I do now is just using it without the standoffs. That also works fine. So we can continue, and if you want to use it, then just make sure to order some longer screws. I guess like maybe 15mm screws would be perfect if you want to use those, but we're not going to use it. And yeah, that's the first motor already. As you can see, I'm now going to be placing the others as well. Just do a shortcut because then we can be finishing this drone in time. So I finished placing all the motors on the drone. It looks already quite sick, and the next part we're gonna place on the drone is already the ESC, so we can start soldering the motor wires onto the ESC. So again, let's open up this whole stack, and this is the flight controller. You see it because there are a lot of different pads right over here, and this is the ESC. So we're gonna take this one out, and we will be connecting this one with a wire to the flight controller later on. We're gonna already stick the wire onto the ESC because if we place it on the drone, then there won't be too much space anymore. So it's easier to instantly place the wire. So let's get to the accessories and find the right wire inside here. Should be, let's have a look. That should be, oh, there's so many wires, but I'm searching for, okay, that one. Like, that is the wire. small wire just to connect those two parts, and we're gonna stick it right inside here, just nice and easy. All right, and we can leave it like that. So it will be like the following. So the FC is on top, and we're gonna place the wire relay on into that. And we notice that the flight direction is, you see this arrow right here? Let's get the focus on here. Does it work? Nope. Focus. Where are you? But you see this arrow right here, the small one. And this is the flight direction. So we're gonna place it like this. Also, there's also a small arrow right here. And now we're already able to start cutting the motor wires to the perfect length, so we can start solder it. So I'm gonna be doing it in this way. I'm just gonna be placing the wires on the drone. I might get some tiny bit closer here. And then I'm gonna be taking all the wires to the motor wire pads, and I'm just cutting them how I need them to be. So usually I just take any kind of tool, and you can easily just go over, put it here. So this should be the right length, and then you just cut it. Right. I'm like gonna take that tool, works better here. Okay, so, and we're gonna also do it with the other two wires in the same way. So like this. And last but not least, that one as well. So, all right. Perfect. And now we can already double check if it works already, but that should be perfect and looks good. So should be the right length. So the only thing we now need to do before we can start solder is we have to use some kind of, I don't know how you call this tool in English, but we just have to remove the shrinking tube, the isolation of the wire a little bit. So let's take this away so we can start soldering. And that needs to be done with all the three wires. So pretty simple, just take it nice and easy. And there you go. So let's do it with all four motors, and then we start solder. Okay, so I just finished ripping off all the isolation from the motors. As you can see, just a tiny bit, doesn't need to be that much. And the next steps are to place some solder onto the motor pads right over there, and also onto the wires. So usually that works the best if you have solder right over here and also on the motor wires. And when it comes to the solder itself, I'm using the TBS solder. You probably don't believe me, but there's so many different solders out there, and some of them are just so trash. So if you order one from Amazon, usually they're pretty bad and it's just a pain in the ass. So just check all the details right here and get one of those. You will thank me later. And when it comes to the solder ion, I'm using the mini wave TS, what is it called? TS 101. So 101. You can see it right here. It's a pretty basic solar ion and super lightweight. You power it with USB-C or with your lead-proof battery. Basically just a solder iron. Just get the one that fits best for you. I also got this station so I can put the solder ion inside there. I will place it like on this side. And what else do we need? Basically, sometimes I used to have some kind of third hand, but I just didn't brought it. Maybe I will pick it up later. For this process, it should work without the third hand, but sometimes I just use the third hand to hold the wires in place so I can solder on it. But yeah, let's connect the solder ion, and then we're already starting with the process. Okay, so the solder ion is already connected, and as you can see, like, it's pretty basic on here. I can set my temperature to 350 degrees, goes up to 400, so it's such a powerful tool, and it heats up very quickly. So if you want to get one, I also link it down below. And I probably don't even do affiliate links, so these are just links, so if you want to get them, I don't earn permission. I was thinking about doing affiliate links for this build, but those companies that I recommend to you guys are not actually running affiliate programs, so yeah, I just don't do it. But feel free to check them out. They're like doing amazing stuff. Okay, so solar ion is hot, and we're starting. I will show you the process on one motor, and then we're gonna skip through it. So basically what I usually like to do is just take the solder out and then start by soldering slightly on the wires, just that it's covered with solder. And now we need to do it on all of the motors, so I will do a time lapse because otherwise it's getting too long, but you get the point, guys. Done with that step, and now we're gonna focus on the motor pads. So 6 on this side and 6 on the other side. Basically just try to cover them with solder, and then you're good to go, and we already can start soldering the motors on it. So just heat it up a little bit, and once it's hot you can add the solder. So before we're gonna solder the motor wires onto the drone, we just take those covers, motor wire covers, and put them onto the wires, just like put them over them so they get secured in a nice way. Should work like this perfectly. And then we're gonna solder the first one onto the drone. So basically just start with the outside or the inside, and you can go through that easily. Just start here and go all the way to the end. First one. Second one. And the third one. That's already nice. So I just need to figure out if it's, yeah, perfect. That works great. So look at this. This looks already so clean once we put that on. And now I'm gonna be doing it with all 4 motors. Gonna do a time lapse as well now. And then coming back to you guys. So the protection of the motor wires is already on, but before we're gonna solder them, I forgot something. We have to just take the ESC off again, and we have to solder the capacitor on it, because this capacitor is going to be placed right in here. You see there's enough space to place it inside there. They did an amazing job on that solution, but if you solder the motor wires on the drone before, then you won't be able to do it again later on. So we have to take care of this as well. And we also instantly gonna focus on the XT60 connector as well, because it does make sense to also integrate that one once we solder the capacitor on it, since the capacitor will be placed in this small tiny holes right over here. So take care, the negative one goes to the negative side. I've once connected it in the wrong way and it's not that funny. So take care, these capacitors are very they are like dangerous. We're also gonna place the shrinking tubes on the capacitor like that. Let's do it the opposite direction so that it's true. All right, and then we can already connect it inside here. And usually what I do is just try to do it like that so that it's not gonna fall out until we solder it. And now I just have to bring my third hand, because with this process it's easier if you have a third hand to hold it in place. So I managed to bring a third hand, and now what we want to do is to just secure it that it doesn't get away. And we also want to search for the wires. I still have to think about how long we're gonna make them. So there's already this XT60 connector soldered onto the wires, but there's also another one that is included that usually just plugs into this 3D printed part. So we could either just use that one. I'm not sure, I've never used it. Let's see if that would work as well, but I guess it's not ideal. Yeah, it could work as well, but let's see. It's not ideal for what it's made for. So I'm gonna be using the wires from the included electricity plug with this XT60 connector, but we're gonna use that one, the black one, because it has these mountings on the side, so we can easily just put it inside here, and that works quite good. So what I do is just put it on the drone again, something like that, and then we measure how long the wires needs to be for being able to, we can almost use them as they are. So I probably will just desolder them quickly and then solder them on that one again. I just skipped this part because it's just desoldering that wires and solder them onto the new connector. So I soldered these two wires to the XT60 connector that was delivered with the frame, and now I'm gonna be starting soldering all the things, so the two wires and also the capacitor onto the ESC. So basically I'm gonna just grab my third hand. The way I like to solder the wires and the capacitor onto the drone is pretty basic. So I just start by putting solder, maybe let's get a little closer here. I will put some solder onto the pads right over here. Just start nice and easy. You will definitely need to heat it up a little bit because these are such big pads. But once you being able to bring like the solder on all the parts of the pad, it will definitely get much easier to connect power leads later. Okay, that looks nice. And we're also gonna do it on this side. Perfect. Now we can cut these parts from the capacitor. You see there are like these two parts that we're not gonna use. Just try to get rid of them like this. And then we're gonna put it to the side, and we first need to get some solder onto these leads as well, because you see they're like blank and we want to have solder on those, because then it's easier to solder them onto the ESC. Let's go in this way, put some solder on it. All right, and then the other way. Already looks quite good, and we can reconnect the ESC to the third hand. So I'm gonna place it in the middle so you guys see exactly what I'm doing. And now we're gonna start by placing the negative lead onto the flight controller. Sometimes it's like a little pain in the ass with the third hand. If you have a better third hand than I do, then it's much easier, but with mine I don't know why I've never invested in a better one. But I might need to do it if I do more of these building tutorials. So now we're gonna just try to heat up that part a little bit and then connect it so the other part is getting hot as well. Usually it takes some time until you find the right point here. You can also add some more solder if you feel like that changes something. So takes a while until everything is heated up, but once it's done, it works quite good. First one is done, and now we're gonna do the second one in the same scenario, like the same way. Skip this part, but as you guys see, that already looks good on this side, and now we just need to do it on the other side as well. And the other side is done as well. So looks pretty clean, I guess. Should be enough, and we're now gonna be able to get back again. And I usually just try to fold that one a little bit so it fits into this hole, because we want to go into this part right here. So you can just easily place it on here and try to get it inside there. It already popped inside. And also with the power leads, make sure that they are aligned inside there, looking good with mine. I hope it looks the same with yours. So by now you'll also be able to take this XT60 connector and just place it in between this 3D printed part. Something like that. Oh, damn it. You see, sometimes I also struggle with the one or the other part, but yeah, now it worked. And now you can slide it on here, and as you can see, it looks so clean already. Like, look at this. Later you will be connecting your battery onto that. So I'm happy with that. the capacitor is on this side. You see, it's right underneath there. So should be perfect. And now we can already start to solder the motor wires onto the ESC. So basically we're just starting with maybe just this side. So right over here, 6 pads, and just start after the other. 3 on that side, 3 on this side, and you're good to go. So I'm gonna be doing this quick, so we're not gonna be wasting time here. I'm gonna be showing you one, and the other should be pretty simple to do. So as you can see, 3 leads, pretty basic. Let's go with the next one. 1, 2, 3, right, and it already looks quite good. I hope it looks good on your drone as well by that time. So we're gonna glue these onto the drone later, but for now I don't care about it. And just make sure that these motor pads actually look like they look on my drone. So yeah, should work. And the next part is already the placement of the flight controller. So this is the flight controller, and you see this arrow. I showed it earlier to you guys, but now you can see it better, just zoomed in a little bit on the camera. And this arrow is actually the flight direction, so we just have to try to connect this wire onto the flight controller, which is pretty basic. Just connect it right over there. I'm gonna show it to you in a second. Yeah. Like this. So they're connected, and now we kind of can fold it like that, so it sticks right onto it. That already looks epic. Look at this. So okay, next part. The next thing what we're gonna solder onto the drone is the receiver. So let me just grab it, the Crossfire receiver. I've already opened it up because I wanted to check something, but all we need are some wires that are included in there. So we're gonna use the positive one, the red one, the black one, then one white one for example for RX, and a yellow one for TX. Gonna explain that later. You also have a shrink tube, so I take them out again as well. And we also need the antenna. We can connect to the receiver and also the receiver itself, which is in this tiny plastic case right in there. So it's a pretty tiny receiver. Let's take it out. Pretty small. We're gonna shrink it in a shrinking tube later. And you see these pads right here. So the first one is the negative one, which the black wire comes onto. The second one is the positive one, 5 volts. Next one is TX, and the last one is RX. So basically I'm gonna be putting a picture later onto the screen so you know exactly how to connect it. But basically RX needs to go to TX on the flight controller. So if you have a look on the flight controller, you will see that there are a lot of different ports, and one is called, for example, R6, one is called T6. So RX on the flight on the on the receiver, sorry guys, needs to go to T on like TX6 for example, or TX3 on the flight controller. So I'm gonna be putting a picture on screen so you guys exactly know how it works. But when I started building drones, I always did that wrong. So I always put like RX to RX, and it's actually the opposite. So RX to TX, TX to RX. So otherwise we have a problem later on and nothing works then with the remote. So the way I usually like to do that is first I just grab my third hand and we're gonna solder the different wires onto the receiver. So we're gonna start with ground because it's the first one. Just place some solder on it. Then we go for yellow for the TX1 and then just white for the RX1. Let's quickly get closer so you guys see it. Soldered on it. So black, red, yellow, and white. Ground positive, TX and RX. All right, so perfect. And we're now gonna solder it to the drone. So we might have to cut the wires because they probably be still too long for us for the drone. So let's have a look. If we get over here, we're gonna use R2, T2, ground, and 5 volts for that. Pretty basic. Just make sure the white one, so for me the white one on the receiver is RX, that needs to go to TX. Just make sure if the one is right, the other one can't go wrong, you know? All right, so let's place it here, and I probably will just twist it a little bit, and then we're gonna cut it anywhere there. We don't need to make it super long, the wires, because it doesn't make sense to make them long. And then just use your fingernails maybe. Mine are a little dirty, sorry guys, but then you can rip off the isolation easily from these wires. You don't need any tool for that. Expect you have no fingernails. All right, looks like that. You see? Perfect. And we're now gonna solder some, or actually we're now gonna give some solder onto the pads right here. So T2, R2, 5, and ground. And that's it. And now we just have to solder this receiver onto it. So I'm gonna be starting with the T2. So basically that's the yellow one. No, sorry guys. That's the white one. And next one is R2 on the flight controller. It means it's the yellow one. It's TX on the receiver. Then we also have the positive connection, 5 volts. And last but not least, we have ground. So, okay. Let's get close again so you see something. Easy, I've connected them right over there. So pretty basic. Ground, 5 volts. Then we have R2 and T2. Basically, we just need to remind ourselves on the number, because later in Betaflight in the software, we have to configure it right. So just don't forget that it's, well, don't forget the number you soldered it on, but should work, guys. All right. So now that we did this part successfully, we are also already able to insert the antenna. So I'm gonna be placing the antenna on the back side right here, because we've got space on this side, and all you need to do is just try to put it through the electricity wires, something like that, and then you're instantly able to plug it inside here. So that works perfect. And you can easily just connect this with your receiver now. One thing we still need to put on is a shrinking tube that is delivered with the receiver. We're gonna put it on the receiver, and then we're gonna put the antenna on the receiver again. So that's pretty easy. Just put on the antenna. Should click inside, yeah, and put over the heat shrink so we can close it pretty easily. I just use my solder iron for that. You can use a lighter or matches, so doesn't matter. Receiver is connected. We're gonna bind it later with our remote, but for now let's just leave it like it is. Already looks good. And we're gonna continue with the second part. Let me just bring it again. There we go. Let's zoom out a little bit. We're gonna connect the video transmission, the O3A unit. So let's take the drone to the side for a second. And it's already a mess right here, but we just open up the A unit like that. It's pretty easy. Just open it up. There's some kind of manual, but we don't need it. All we need is the whole A unit, whole construction. We're gonna pull that off. It's just a warning that the A unit overheats pretty easily, but we don't need it. And now it's already getting to a quite interesting part, because this right here is the connection, and we're gonna connect it to the flight controller. So let's zoom in again, and this will be connected to that side over here. So basically all you need to do is just plug it in right on this side. So let's do it quickly, and then I show you exactly where to plug it in. So it's right there, just a connection, pretty easy, as you can see right here. And then we can also place the flight controller again. And yeah, so the antenna will be mounted to the backside right here. I'm gonna be mounting it with a connection. So there it is. This is just some kind of insert that you can place on the 3D printed part right over there. So basically what you want to do is you want to open up the A unit, then we can remove the antenna, stick it through this part here, and then we're gonna reconnect it again. I quickly gonna do this because it makes the whole drone much cleaner. So we need a Phillips insert, something like that. Just open up the A unit, the two screws right here. I'm gonna show it in a second. So we're gonna open up the A unit, as you can see right here. Then we're gonna unplug the antennas, and we can use this kind of insert. So just put everything inside here. Okay, it's the wrong way. We need to do it from the back side, like that. And we also gonna use some, I don't know how you call these screws in English, but these are also included, like some small screws. Just call it small screws. And we need to just fix the antenna with those screws. So just search for the right insert. Okay, that one works. So there are two two sides, and you just want to put a screw into each side. One on this side and one on the other side. And they make it so clean, like SpeedyB. They do an amazing job on their frames. Alright, then we're gonna pull it through, and also we're gonna stick the antennas through the power leads right over here. I will show that in just a second. Alright, already looks clean. Now we can reconnect it. So basically what I did is just, you see the antenna is now placed right here. I hope the focus does a good job on this. Let's check. Okay, it should work. And I just place the antennas in between the power leads, and now let's reconnect it. So that's actually pretty easy. Just replug the antennas onto the A unit. Alright, that's done, and now we're gonna use a Phillips screw insert again so we can close it. Alright, now we are connected the antennas again, and I sometimes just like to twist this part, like all these wires, a little bit. They will get a little shorter then, and the whole build is going to be cleaner. Let's reconnect the wire. Alright, perfectly. And the next thing is already to mount the camera onto the frame. So we're gonna go through here. So I hope you see that, guys. Let's just open that one again for a second. So we can go underneath, in between flight controller and ESC. And this gives us the cleanest way to do it. Let's find another insert so we can demount the screws that are delivered with the camera. Like this. Just put the screws out for a second. We might gonna use different ones. I still need to check if these are actually long enough for the whole mounting system, but we will check in a second. So what we have to do is we have to use the yellow connectors that are included. Let's turn down this a little bit. It's a little too bright. These will be used to mount the 04 system. So all you have to do is just plug them inside here, just insert them from both sides, and we're already able to take the camera in between. So now, as you can see, it sticks straight into there. I hope you see that, guys. Otherwise, if you have questions, let me know down below or in the school community. By the way, speaking about the school community, let's do a quick interruption here and take away the parts. And I'm gonna be zooming out a little bit, and I will be putting something right here, which is our school community. We've created the FPV school, so there are a lot of members inside there, and we have 3 mentors. So me, Fuxi, and Maya Visuals, helping all our students inside the group. We're guiding you from beginner to pro to making 2,000 euros per day with flying FPV drones. It's an amazing group. Also, we've got a lot of different calls, like every week, another call, a Zoom call with the whole group. So if you have personal questions to me, just join in. It's a 7-day free trial, and at the moment, it depends on whenever you watch this video. At the moment, it should be a waiting list, so just join for the waiting list, and once it reopens, we're gonna send you an email so you know exactly when you can join the next time. But with that being done, let's put away this screen and we're getting back. So just a link down below if you want to join in. Feel free. There are a lot of great members inside, a lot of challenges. So I love the community, and you usually get help and an answer within like 10-20 minutes. So whenever you have a question to the build, just go in there, ask a question, and I love it. It's so amazing. Anyways, we now have to secure the camera onto the mounting system, and these screws might be too small, so I have to find different ones. So when we have a look at these screws, they might be perfect for what we want to do with them. Let's just check for the right screws, and then we're gonna use those. Let's just try if that one works. I guess that one should work. So basically just screw it in. Yeah, that works perfectly. And also on the other side, you can secure it with either 2 or 4 screws. Unfortunately, I guess I just have 2 screws here, so I probably will just use 2 screws. But if you have 4, do I have 4? I guess I have even 4 here. I just found a third one. Let's just put that one inside as well. We can secure it with all the 4 screws if you find them, but they're shipped with the frame, so you should find them. And now you can tilt the camera already up and down however you feel. Let's get closer again. Perfect. That's nice. And you already see the dead cat frame, like you don't have your props in view because of the dead cat frame. So next thing we need to do is we have to screw the A unit to the frame, and I guess there should be some screws included, but let me check again if there are screws included. Okay, so there are screws included, but before we mount the A unit to the frame, we have to remove the 4 screws on the bottom side, so we can place it right here and then just screw it on the frame. So I will do this for a second. Let's frame it perfectly so you guys see something. It's always hard to show you guys exactly what I'm doing, because sometimes that's so small everything, but I guess you guys get the point. Just take out the 4 screws, 1 and 2. Let's find the right screws. I guess these look like they are the ones that we are going to use. And we're gonna place it from the back side. You wanna go with the screws through this part. Like you see this X, and you wanna stick the screws through there and just secure the A unit with the screws. So that's basically what I'm gonna do now. Let's go through there. First one is placed. Second one is also placed. That works perfectly. And now we just have 2 more screws, exactly the same screws that we can insert into the drone. Just put them out, do the same thing. That's actually pretty easy. So I don't think that I have to explain too much here on that process. But again, if you have questions, just feel free to contact me or anywhere where you want to find help about that. So perfect. And now it already looks quite clean, doesn't it? So we're gonna close it later, but for now that looks already quite good. So what I want to like to do now is, let's zoom out a little bit so you guys can see more. I'm now gonna be gluing this motor wire things, protections on the frame. So we're gonna get a clean result here. Just pull away this this red like thing over there, and we're gonna glue it onto the drone. Just try to keep that clean and easy like this, and we're gonna do it on 4 sides. So again, on this side, you got the point, And that already looks so clean. I'm just like, I love when things are clean. Like during the build, should be clean, you know, guys. So it already looks quite clean. I hope yours looks also that clean. And now we need to do two more things before we're able to start configuring the drone in Betaflight. First, we have to connect the O3A unit to the FPV goggles, and secondly, we have to connect the receiver to my remote. So we're gonna do that now, just bringing my stuff, and then we get over to Betaflight where I show you exactly what you have to set up so you're not gonna get lost. 1 second and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back with my FPV goggles and my remote, and we still need a battery to power up the whole drone. So let's also get an insight into the Tattoo LiPo batteries. So those are looking so amazing. First things first, they include some kind of piece for just for the balancer leads, so whenever it gets into the motors it doesn't instantly break. And there we go, there it is, the beauty. Amazing battery. I've already tested a lot of these Tattoo LiPos. I love them. And basically you just can use this for securing the balancer leads just like that. I usually like to use them because whenever you get them into the motors, they don't instantly cut off. So, first things first, let's get also rid of that. Not gonna use it. And we're gonna power up the drone for the first time. All right, already a good signal. And now we're gonna power up our FPV goggles and also the remote.
Welcome to Tango 2. Switch warning.
So, gonna be selecting my module
Switch warning.
and instantly bind it. So get over to bind, start binding, and we just need to no, actually sometimes you have to press the button on the receiver, but it just worked. So as you can see, turned green, also that one turned green, so that should be perfect. We're gonna check all these things later, but it should work. And also we're gonna get over to actually to the other side. So as you can see right there, not sure if you see it, but there is the red light, and underneath the red light is a small button that you need to press, and also you have to press your bind option here on your FPV goggles. So you already hear the sound of it. Then we also can press that one here. And yeah, you heard it. Doesn't take too much time. So let's have a look inside the FPV goggles. Okay, and what you see now is that you have to get to your PC and activate the O3A unit. That is what I meant earlier. We have to also activate the O3A unit. So we're gonna do that now with with the DJI Assistant program. I will show you that later. So let's get rid of the battery, and we're also gonna power off the FPV goggles. So we will check them later again. And now I will clean up everything, and then we heat over, and I'm gonna be giving you a screen recording and a complete manual on what we have to set up in Betaflight. So give me a second and I will be back. Welcome back. So I just brought all the things to the desk. We've got the remote, we've got the goggles, we've got the drone and my PC, so we can set up everything. And we're gonna start with the flight controller, and after that we're also gonna configure the O3A unit. So basically all you have to do is you have to connect the flight controller with a USB-C wire. I hope you can see it right over here. just plug in the USB-C wire on the connector and try to level your drone on the desk so it's straight right over here. And then we're gonna go over and connect it to Betaflight. So if you haven't downloaded it, just download it in the internet. And we're gonna go over to the CLI and type in diff all. Basically, diff all just shows everything that is already set up to the drone. And we wanna go over and find the board name. So we're gonna copy the name and get over to update. In updates, we're gonna update the flight controller. Mine is already auto detected. If yours doesn't work, then just search for the board name. We're gonna go over and click on load firmware online. It will find the firmware online, and once it's downloaded, we're gonna go to flash firmware, and this takes a few seconds, and then it's done, and we can go back. So the update is successful, and we are able to get back. So first things first, we're gonna go over to the CLI again, because I already made a preset for this drone where I pit tuned everything so it flies buttery smooth. And I'm not gonna go through everything because there are some changes that I already forgot to do. So I just got the preset. Took me a long time to make it, but you can download it and find it right underneath in the community. So we're gonna go over and load from file, and we import this file. You can also set up the drone without this file, but it just makes it much easier then. So I have it right here in documents, and where do I have it? Inside here. Don't judge me on my data management, it's my old PC. I didn't care back then. So that is the right one. We're gonna select it and open it up and press on execute. It will then automatically close in a few seconds like it did now, and then we're gonna reconnect it. So again, reconnect it and calibrate the accelerometer so it's leveled, and then we're also gonna go over and select the ports. So the first port, UART1, is the one where I just connected my O3A unit on. I also should have selected the VTX MSP display port here on the preset, and also we're gonna deselect that one and gonna enable the UART2 because I soldered my receiver to UART2. Then we're gonna save and reboot, connect again, and perfect. And we can go over to the configurations. In my case, I have already got the craft name. You can put the pilot's name, the arming, just make sure to set it to 180 degrees, and all the other things you don't need it with this build. So we actually can go over to the next tab already, and we get over to the modes. So we've got two different modes, but before we get into that, we're gonna go over to the receiver and check if everything works. So let's just turn on your radio.
Welcome to Tango 2. Switch warning.
And there you just need to check if the sticks inputs, so if you basically just pull the throttle or you do the accelerator, just make sure that they actually align with the ones that you see on the screen. In my case, it totally aligns. It's nothing differently, so we can leave it like that. And then we get over to modes, because what I like to do, especially on the TBS Tango, is I like to arm my drone on aux1, which is that switch right over here. So I'm gonna start the motors with that, and I'm gonna just stop the engines again with the same switch. This is just perfect. If you fly and you crash, you can instantly switch off the motors. Then we're also gonna select angel mode. It's on aux2. If you wanna, for example, also link maybe that one horizon mode to it, and just add range and click on auto select, and then you can press any button on your radio. For example, now it's selected aux4 and it will be that one, but I'm not gonna be using that mode, so I don't need it. The beeper, I already selected it, it's on aux4. If you download the preset, it will also be auto selected on yours, and we're gonna go and click save. So the next thing is already the motor tab. For that one we have to plug in a battery, because now what we want to do is we want to face the motors, the props spinning like from the inside to the outside, which is called props out. It's just better, like for example, if you crash a drone into mud or something, then all the mud is not going on the camera, and on the other side, if you like do props in, all the mud is going on the camera. So we don't want to get this. So I have selected motor direction is reversed, and we're gonna go over and just plug a battery into the whole system, and we go over to the motors. I understand the risks, and we just try to start with the master, so we can select all, and usually I just see if the motors are spinning in the right direction. For example, that motor is not spinning in the right direction because it would need to spin the opposite. That one also not, that one also not, that one as well not. So we just have to change all motors in the other direction, and we're gonna go over and do it right here in the motor direction tab. So we can go, I understand the risk, and just reach the all in the direction and allows you to just okay. So individually, and we do all and reverse. So now if we close it again, and I'm gonna go over here and we do the master, then they all changed to the other direction, and now they're spinning in the other direction. If for example you just have one motor that is not spinning in the right direction, then you just go to motor direction and go over to individually and just select the one motor, and you can do reverse it. So basically just make sure for this build it's nice if all the motors are spinning outside. So motor 1, motor 3, motor 2, motor 4, they all have to spin from the inside to the outside. So make sure that they all do it. And once you did that, you are already able to go to the OSD. I've already set it up in the preset, so it already looks like that. You don't have to do anything extra here. Just click save, and then we're gonna go over to get save, and it's gonna close everything so we can disconnect it. Perfect. Let's disconnect it. And yeah, that's it already with the Betaflight tab. Pretty straightforward, but nothing actually you have to know more than that about it. So if you build this drone, this is just a small breakdown with the preset. If you want an exact manual on that, then you should go over either in the community or just search for a breakdown on YouTube or whatever you want. So if you still need help, just ask your question in the comments or in the community, where we help you anytime. Alright, so let's switch over to the 04 air unit. Basically, we're gonna disconnect that cable and we're gonna connect it right over here to the 04 air unit. No, actually 03 air unit. I'm already hoping for the 04. So we're gonna put that inside here, and it should already connect. Yeah, it's already connected to the PC. So we're gonna close Betaflight and we're gonna open up DJI Assistant 2. Just takes a few minutes, not that long. Or actually it takes long. Activation completed. We're gonna close the window. Yes, we want to close it, and we're gonna unplug the battery already so it's not getting too hot. Unplug the wire here as well, and yeah, that is already everything. Telemetry lost. That is everything we had to do to this drone. Now the next step we are going to do is we're gonna close the drone, put on propellers, and then we're gonna get outside and do the first test flight. I'm also gonna be making it waterproof, so we can make some shots like those, just flying into like a water skier or chasing a cliff diver. So if you want to fly during winter or do some crazy stuff with the drone close to water, then I would also recommend you guys to waterproof it. I have a full guide on that also in our FPV school. So if you want to make it waterproof, check that out as well. But it would be too long for this video, so we're gonna sit there tomorrow then. And yeah, just I'm gonna remove all the things, get ready, put on the props. I will show you exactly how we put on the props as well. And then we get outside. It's nice weather, so should be fun flying this drone. Let's go. Okay, so before we're gonna go outside and test the drone, I quickly want to show you how we mount the top plate onto the frame and also how we're gonna fit the props on it. So basically, before we close it, we still have to also secure the flight controller, the stack right here with some screws. So basically just open up the delivered ones. We're gonna open it up, put them out, and then we close it. That's pretty easy, pretty basic, so I hope you guys see that. Otherwise I need to get closer. We can go closer. So like that, just on all 4 screws. You don't need to tighten them like super hardcore, so just take it easy, but for sure they need to like fit everything together, so just go like that. So the next step is to also just place this lipo thing onto the top plate so it doesn't get lost, and it just works quite good with this pad right there. We also can add some straps for the lipo. I just need to bring some. We need to place them in between. We're gonna place one on this side and one there, so we can secure the battery pretty easily. So what I like to do is just place them like they will be holding the battery later. Something like that. And then we're gonna go through there. One there and one on this side. And we can place it already on the frame. So it looks quite clean in this way. Nice. And then we're gonna use some screws. I'm gonna be going a little closer now again. Hope you see that, guys. And we're gonna fix it with the screws. Just start on the back side or on the front side, it doesn't matter. One here, one also on the front side. And yeah, just do it with all 6 screws. And I will be back with mounting the props on it. So, top cover is mounted on the drone, looking quite good. And now, as promised, we just need to mount the props on it. I'm gonna zoom out again a little. Alright, these are the props, looking quite good, and we just have to take care that we fit the right prop on the right motor, because you see there are a lot of different ones. One is for the right side, one is for the left side, and we just need to check the direction here, because if you watch in detail on these propellers, you see that some of them go in the other direction like that, and the others go in that direction. So basically the air comes from that side and it pushes the air down. So that is how it works. So we're gonna go with that prop right here. We're gonna mount that one on this side, then that one on that side, and this one right here. So whenever the prop spins, sorry guys, whenever the motors start spinning, then it's gonna go in this direction. Right over here it's going this direction. Also here this direction and that direction. So that is how you should mount them. If you're not sure, just go down, send me a picture of the drone and I will help you. And now all we need to do is we have to secure it with these bodies right here. Just put them on and then we secure it with that kind of tool. Perfect. And that's it. Do it with all 4 motors and then we're ready and we can already go outside. I'm hyped for that. See you in a second. So the props are mounted on the drone. Just check them twice and yeah, this is how it looks. It already looks so nice. It's such a clean build. I hope yours looks that clean as well. So with that being done, we're gonna go outside and I will be seeing you in a few seconds. Okay, so I just made it outside and right over here is already the drone and all the parts. So my remote, FPV goggles, and also I brought some LiPo battery. Again, this is the one from Tattoo. So we're gonna stick that one onto the drone. I need to get rid of the camera in my hand. And then we start here and do some flying in my backyard. As you can see right over there, we've already got some snow, which looks epic, but you will see more once I started the drone. So I'm gonna be doing that and then we're gonna fly. Alright. It looks so new and nice. Crazy. So the drone is already turned on and I'm gonna be showing you guys exactly what I see during the flight here in my FPV goggles. I'm gonna be recording on the O3A unit, so I guess that works perfect. So let me just show you my backyard where I live, and we might catch some sun. So if we are fast, then we definitely catch the sun. So let's get started. Oh, first flight with this drone. It feels so locked in. Oh damn, and also the battery. This is a new battery from Tattoo, and oh damn, that it's so powerful. Look, we even have some snow on the mountains. Okay, let's do some diving. Nice. And we're also gonna do some gap right here because there's a gap. I'm gonna be showing it to you guys. So it's in there. Oh, okay guys, that was a little bit too fast. I've never done that in the other direction, but we saved it. Okay. Anyways, let's see if we can catch the sun. I'm not gonna go over 120 meters because I'm not allowed to. Okay, no, I can't go higher. Nice. Ah, this drone just feels so good. So you can actually shoot cinematic stuff with it, you can freestyle this drone, and it's not too expensive. So I don't really get the point of investing in a expensive drone because like it is an FPV drone, so you will crash it and it doesn't make sense to like go with super expensive parts on such a drone. Like, come on, you guys see it, how it flies perfectly, and yeah, I would just build one of those. If you're a beginner or if you're a pro, doesn't matter, just give it a try. And yeah, I'm gonna be coming back now because you have already seen how it flies amazing. Let's land over there. Okay. Oh, I just love this build. Like for this price point, I guess I mentioned that in the video 1,000 times, but look at this drone. It looks nice, it is not expensive, perfect. And I'm gonna be ending this video on this point. I hope you enjoyed it, and leave some comments on some next builds so I can see them. If you wanna see me building a tiny whoop or a cinewhoop or a cinelifter even, then definitely read it. And also feel free to check out our community if you want to. I mentioned it already a lot of times in this video, but it's such an amazing community and there's so many like-minded people inside there. So that is crazy. With that being said, I hope you have a good day, and yeah, just build a drone. It does make a lot of fun. See you in the next one. Peace.